All right, are we ready to go?
We are ready to go. All
All
yours.
right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for finding the time in your busy schedules to join us this morning. For those of you who may not know, my name is Kevin Schaefer, and I'm the director of the Supporting Inclusive Practices Project out of El Dorado County Office of Education. We're grateful that you have put your trust in the expertise of our team to support your efforts on your journey to provide meaningful, inclusive opportunities for students with disabilities today and beyond. As new SIP grantees, we wanted to provide you with an option to learn a bit more about the project and to gain clarity on topics specifically related to orienting you and your team to our work. In the second session, beginning at 9:30, we'll dive deeper into who we are, what we do, and of course, how to quickly and efficiently submit and receive reimbursements through the CDE Special Education Division. At the end of this session, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. But if a question arises for you during the presentation, feel free to enter it in the chat. Our team is at the ready. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce the newest member of our team, Director Carmen Hopkins.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here and join all of you. As a former grantee myself, I'm just so excited and feeling privileged to be a part of this incredible work with this incredible team. I have the honor today of quickly introducing everyone that comes together to make SIP happen. And then we'll go into that again later on today with a few more further introductions, but I'll get everybody acquainted. Starting off with our two amazing SIP coordinators. They make a lot of this magic happen. We'll have an opportunity for you to hear from each of them a little bit more later today, but I'm going to start with introducing Janelle Mercado, supporting our team from the Northern California El Dorado County Office of Education, and Dr. Danny Daher, supporting here in Riverside County Office of Ed. Our NorCal team has two amazing program support specialists, Heather Snipes and Sarah James. Sarah recently had a name change, so I want to acknowledge that. She is now Sarah Bleeg. So we want to congratulate her on her recent nuptials. So you'll see that later. If her name changes, we don't want anyone to get confused. There's the why. Moving on, you'll see some of our SoCal program support specialists here today as well. We have Dr. Jessica Mayorka Nunez, supporting from Riverside County Office of Ed, along with Celise Heron, also from our Riverside County Office of Education. Dr. Juliet Anyan Wu from our EdCo team, in addition to Megan Gross, also from our EdCo team. Our two awesome program assistants. None of this can happen without them. Erica Munoz, again, supporting from Riverside County Office of Education, and Rebecca Fuller from our El Dorado team here with us today. We know you have a lot of questions, and being new to the grant, we want to make sure that we have an opportunity today to answer all of those questions for you. You're probably first and foremost wondering, like, where's the money, right? Where's the money? How do I get it? Where can I spend it? And what can I really do to make meaningful impact for our students when it comes to inclusion and belonging? All of those questions will be answered today. We will have an opportunity also for you to connect with those that will be supporting you the most closely, and we will not let you go out with this work without having the answers that you need. So hang tight. All of those answers will be, or all of those questions will be answered. And like Kevin shared, if you're missing something or need clarification, please take advantage of the chat as we move throughout our time together today.
All right, so let's jump in. We wanted to start with our project's mission and vision. You can read the mission and vision, but we wanted to put this out to the project grantees just to understand where we're coming from in the broad picture. Our aim is to provide unparalleled statewide technical assistance to educational communities in their pursuit of inclusive and equitable systems. That's the bottom line for the work that we do, and to improve inclusive opportunities in honoring the rightful presence of all students. And just as a little background, we support districts from preschool all the way through the age of 22 in our adult transition programs, as well as higher ed and statewide system of support. So our reach and our connection throughout the technical assistance projects, as well as counties, SELPAs, and districts across the state is deeply impactful. We currently work with close to 100 educational organizations throughout the state, from the northern border in Humboldt all the way through the southern border in San Diego. Next slide. And also, as a background, we look at inclusion through a systems approach, both vertically and horizontally. So vertically in a state, county, SELPA, district, school site, classroom perspective, in aligning our support based on the initiatives and the priorities that are currently in place within the organization. So a lot of times we get the question, well, just tell us how to do inclusion. Like, what's the first step? And our response is, I don't know. You have to let us know what context you're working with in order for our team to determine suggestions, guidance, thought partnering on best next steps, considerations, to ensure that the leadership team is clear on their vision and also have a priority set for how we communicate the information, how we disseminate the information, and how we hold teams accountable throughout the organization. Next slide. And there is a method to our madness. The essential elements of inclusion is really the foundation of the Supporting Inclusive Practices project. It's adapted from the work of Booth and Ainscow. And if you want more information on their implementation program, you can ask our program specialist coordinator or Carmen and myself. But it focuses first on shared leadership, that the work that we do coming into a district or a SELPA or a county office is working first with the leadership team, so that the leadership team has a very clear understanding of the direction we're moving and a clear definition of inclusion and inclusive practices even before there is conversation around implementation. How do we envision this project? How do we build the project? Even before we think about ways that we're going to include. Too often we find that inclusion and least restrictive environment are seen as synonymous, and we think of inclusion as moving students into a place. But if that place isn't wrought with belonging, relationship, community, the least restrictive environment isn't going to be successful. So we start with shared leadership, and then we move into one of the biggest barriers that we find is culture. And I think on the next slide, do we move to culture? Nope, let's go back. So one of the biggest barriers that we find is the culture and the understanding the implicit bias around students with disability or disability in general. So a lot of our work really focuses on the identification and the understanding of ableism in our system, and starting there and moving forward to change the mindsets in order for students to be afforded meaningful, inclusive opportunities. So from culture, then we also look at inclusive policy and what policies are currently in place across the organization that could form a barrier for students to access their least restrictive environment. Um, Actually, one of the supports that we provide through the compliance and improvement monitoring process is a deep look at the policies that are in place, as well as any of the processes and procedures that may be holding up the implementation of inclusive practices. And then finally, inclusive practices. And this is an area that a lot of the organizations that we work with, they're thinking about the practice or the activity that they're looking to implement. It could be UDL, could be co-teaching, could be PBIS, but without looking really, really closely at the system and the vision and how to build and how to implement and support the educators in this implementation, we're really just creating that cycle of practices not being impactful across the organization. So really bringing in the leadership and also bringing in site leadership as well as our educators and related services staff. So next slide. And then you can also visit our website. For the Blueprint for Inclusion, we came up with the Blueprint for Inclusion, which is based on the latest research. And it combines implementation science along with improvement science. And we know that there's districts across California. Some are going down the road of implementation science. Some are going down the road of improvement science. What we wanted to do is, regardless of the continuous improvement processes that are in place, to really look at inclusion through an integrated lens that brings together the implementation and improvement science. So any of the districts that we work with, they can come into this process at any point. So you can see that starting with envisioning, which is where the conversation begins with our team, is what is your vision? What is your definition? Do you have a plan for communicating clarity across the organization? As we move through the Blueprint for Inclusion, then we focus on building. How do we build the system so that before we get to implementing, we actually have the culture, the mindset, the policies, the practices in place before the users actually experience the innovation? So we go through envisioning, then we build the system, then we look at an implementation plan that's cohesive. How do we scale up across the organization for what we have found to be effective? And then how do we sustain across time? And this is where we get the deep implementation. So it doesn't matter who's in positions of leadership. It matters that we have the structures in place to continue the vision and the culture and the policies and the practices over the long haul. Next slide. And the way that we have designed the project, it's a tiered system. So in tier one, it's universal access. Anyone across California can access our website resources. They can access all of our social media. We also have the Special Ed newsletter housed on our website. And then we also have the podcast. Anyone can request thought partnering guidance from our team members. And again, all of our supports and services are at no cost. For tier two, which is where you're coming into the project, is direct technical assistance. And this is where we provide individualized thought partnering, professional development, typically over the course of 5 to 7 to 8 years. We know that creating inclusive environments takes time, that we'll talk about in just a bit, but it takes time. So in year one, in year two, in year three, you're not going to see the growth, both through compliance as well as program, to really impact students' experiences. So our team provides the professional development, strategic planning, and you also receive grant funding through CDE that we'll talk about in session 2. And then in tier 3, we work with districts who are in more the intensive monitoring through the compliance and improvement process monitoring through California Department of Education with districts that are assigned to us. Next slide. And then we also wanted to list ways that you can engage with the SIP team. So we do data dives, we look at the dashboard, we look at data quest, we look at the data drill down on the System Improvement Leads website. We also look at more qualitative data through the basics and the levers instructional infrastructure planning tool, initiative alignment, goal setting, professional learning, the actual delivery of professional learning, networking and connections across the state. Because we're so interconnected with the statewide system of support, we also make connections to technical assistance providers that have expertise in specific areas that our districts are requesting support in. We're also implementing inclusion academies this year, as well as demonstration sites. And again, we'll talk about the inclusion academies and the demonstration sites just a bit later in session 2. It was a quick overview. If you have questions, you can unmute yourself, and you can also enter in the chat, and our team will get back and answer your questions. So just give it a little bit of time for you to think about that. I think what I'm understanding is that everybody got the information that they need. We'll give it just a little bit more time. I want to make sure that your questions, being a new grantee, are answered. Yes, Jamie. Good to see you, Jamie. The PowerPoint will be shared. We'll also talk about in session 2 which districts are assigned to which program specialists and coordinators and directors. We've been working really, really hard in the background to make sure that all of our grantees are supported both geographically and with specific expertise. Oh, Denise, good to see you. Great beginning of the year. Totally agree. Tiffany, thank you for the thumbs up. Anyone else have questions? Hopefully you'll all join us for session 2. That's where we're going to get a little bit deeper. All right. Well, we'll close this session down. We will log back in at 9:30 with the SIP grantees as a whole. And then we'll go through a couple of the same information, a little bit of the same information that we've covered in session 1, and then go deeper into specifics with session 2. Okay? So we'll see you all back at the same link at 9:30, and think of any questions that you might have, and we'll see you there. Oh, Italia, I see your question. Do we do roundtables with other districts? That's actually one of the benefits of the Supporting Inclusive Practices project. Because we're connected with so many districts across California, we do make those connections with like areas of interest. The other option that we will get into in session 2 again is our Spring Institute. In the Spring Institute, we bring all of our grantees together, and for a full day, we do roundtables, we do communities of practice, we share areas of expertise. So that's definitely one of the areas to request from your program specialist, your coordinator, or your director. Great question. Oh, thanks, Candace. Put a lot of work into the SIP Institute. Look forward to more information. And just because I have you all here, highly recommend that you join our listserv if you're not on already. You should be. I think we did it manually. But then also through our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter or X, join, because we push out a ton of information, not only on what we're currently doing with other grantees, but also what's happening across the state with other technical assistance providers. And one of the other positives around the social media is that if you see that we're working with another grantee in a specific area or designing some professional development sessions, and you're interested in that, ask away, and we can bring that work into your organization. Oh, thanks, Celise. Yeah, Spring Institute, April 8th, Riverside County Office of Education. Oh, thanks, Bhavna. It's one of our favorite events too. All right. We will see you at 9:30, same link, um, and deeper information. So we'll see you soon. Thank you for being here.
Thank you to everybody put that in there. Let's but we will get started, and to get us going in the right direction, I'd like to welcome back our director out of the Riverside County Office of Education, Ms. Carmen Hopkins.
Good morning, everyone. It's so great to be together. Thank you, Danny, for getting us started with some music and a little fun in the chat. My name again is Carmen Hopkins, Director of Supporting Inclusive Practice Project. I support from the Riverside County Office of Education team. I have the honor and privilege of supporting Corona Norco, along with Fresno, LAUSD, and Poway at this time. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to the amazing Kevin Schaefer.
Thanks, Carmen. As Carmen said, I'm Kevin Schaefer, Director of Supporting Inclusive Practices Project out of El Dorado County Office of Education. So happy to be here and see so many familiar faces and faces I can't wait to get to know. I'm supporting Live Oak, Orcutt, Pajaro Valley, Pleasanton, Redwood City, Sacramento City, San Lorenzo Valley, SoCal, Stockton, and Woodland. Just as an FYI, our program specialist out of the San Francisco Bay Area moved to LA. So our coordinator, Janelle, and I will be supporting the Bay Area grantees for the time being. So glad to get to know everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Janelle Mercado, and I am coming to you out of Sacramento from the El Dorado County Office of Education. And like Kevin mentioned, there are a number of grantees that Kevin and I will be supporting out of the Bay Area, in addition to the grantees we've been supporting. Most of them I've already supported in the past, so happy to be with you all again. So I this year will be assisting Amador County Office, Burlingame, Hillsborough, Hollister, Liberty Union, Los Altos, Motherlode, North Monterey, Sacramento City, San Mateo Foster City, and Wheatland Union. And then I just have the pleasure of dabbling into a bunch of other grantee support. So really great to see all of you and launch this next school year. I'm going to kick it over to Danny.
Thanks, Janelle. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our webinar for this school year. My name is Dan Daher. I am the SoCal coordinator down here out of the Riverside County Office of Education. I'm coming to you from the East San Gabriel Valley. I am currently working with all of our demonstration sites, particularly Arcadia and Chime, and Wish, which is not mentioned here. But I also support Conejo Valley, East San Gabriel Valley, Selpa, Lompoc, Moore Park, Simi Valley, and Ventura County Office of Ed. Looking forward to a spectacular year, and I will kick it over to our NorCal gals.
Hello, I'm Heather Snipes. I'm the first of the two NorCal gals. I am with the El Dorado County Office of Education, but I live way up here in Humboldt County, so almost all the way up. And that was somebody's song, I saw that. Anyways, you can see my grantees there on the side. We range from all the way up in Siskiyou, actually, with Wairika, all the way down to Lodi. So I cover a lot of ground in our state, and I'm happy to see everybody today.
Hi, my name's Sarah James. Sorry, it's Sarah Bleak, formerly known as Sarah James. I'll learn that one. I am a program support specialist based out of South Lake Tahoe. And I support Black Oak Mine, Bret Hart, Dos Palos Arolomo, Manteca, Modesto, NJUHSD, Red Bluff Joint Elementary and the Union High School, Sonora High School, Salisburyville, Vallejo, and Vallecito. Lovely to see some familiar Gold Country faces here today and across the state. Passing it on.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Mayorga Nunez, and I am one of the program support specialists in the SoCal area, housed out of Riverside County Office of Education. Here are the districts I am supporting, as well as SELPA, East Valley SELPA, Gonzales, Parupa Unified, Kingsburg, Magnolia, Redlands, Rialto, Rim of the World, Standard, Upland, and Yucaipa, Calamasa, to name a few, along with some other districts I'm supporting alongside with some of the other program specialists. And I'll hand it over to Celise.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. Happy to see everyone here. My name is Celise Heron. I am a program support specialist out of Riverside County Office of Ed, and I have the pleasure of supporting Animo Legacy Charter, Carruthers, Compton, Culver City, Desert Sands, Dinuba, Irvine, LAUSD, in collaboration with our director, Carmen Hopkins, LACO, Mojave, Pomona, and Whittier Union. And I will pass it over to Juliet.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Juliet Inyanu, and I'm a program support specialist out of El Dorado County Office of Education. I am supporting schools in the SoCal region, although my team is in NorCal and EDCO. It is my true honor to support these districts. And so I currently support Adelanto Elementary, Antelope Valley, Apple Valley, Eastside Union, Hesperia, Kern High School District, Kernville Union, Lucerne Valley, Oxnard Union, Saugus Unified, and Victor Elementary. And so it's my true pleasure to be here with you all this morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. My name is Megan Gross. I am based in San Diego, but remotely work for our El Dorado County Office of Education team. And I'm so excited as a former grantee myself to get to be a part of the work with SIP. And I am kind of the opposite of Heather. So Heather has everybody in the north, and I get to kind of close us out in the state, starting with Brawley at the tippy south of the state in Imperial County, and then supporting districts in San Diego County Office of Education, Cajon Valley, La Mesa, Spring Valley, Lakeside, North Inland, SELPA, and then super excited to be a part of some Riverside County work happening in Moreno Valley, Palm Springs, and Romoland. So looking forward to meeting you all and getting to partner with all of you this year.
Thank you, everybody. Erica?
Good morning, everyone. I am the program assistant out of Riverside County Office of Education. And although we don't have lists beside us, we support everybody, including the SIP team. So Rebecca and I handle everything together with SIP, and then I take care of all the Riverside County business on that side of things. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to my right-hand lady, Rebecca.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca. I'm out of the El Dorado County Office of Ed, and I actually live here in Shingle Springs, which is like 30 minutes east of Sacramento on 11 beautiful acres. And everything that Erica said, ditto. But welcome. We're glad you're here.
Fantastic. So just a brief overview of what we can expect this morning. We hope that by the end of our time together, you have gained a better understanding of who we are, what we do, and more importantly, why we do the work we do, what we're shooting for, our mission and our vision, get a deeper perspective of the work we do, including our contract and the project overall, give you some different opportunities on how to engage with us, cover briefly what the grant deliverables are and what the grant expectations are for our grantees and for you all in our districts. Show you just a little bit of some data that we captured last year that really kind of encapsulates the work that we do and the feedback that we've gotten from some of our grantees. And then we will also provide some guidance about the grant, the money, the funds, how to get it, how to use it, and all things financial and business oriented there as well. So with that, I want to start and I want to invite my partner in crime, Janelle Mercado, back with us. And she's going to be talking a little bit about the project, but then also give you a glimpse into our first tier, our universal tier supports that we provide our folks.
Thank you, Danny, and welcome back everyone who was in our first session and those of you returning. Many of you know our SIP mission and vision, and that we deeply, deeply as a team live by our mission and vision. We are incredibly passionate about our work, and we aim to provide a super high level of statewide technical assistance across many of the educational communities statewide in their pursuit of inclusive and equitable systems. And what is at the heart of all of the work that we are doing is that we support the districts and other statewide agencies in the strategic planning and setting goals to create environments that are centered around students with disabilities to experience true belonging, community, and connection. And so our vision is that every single student is educated in an environment that's intentionally designed, equitable, and inclusive. And in order to do that, we have created a process, next slide, that is grounded in research and continuous improvement. And so the SIP team has developed the blueprint for inclusion that many of you will experience throughout your journey toward systems that are designed around more equitable and inclusive opportunities for students with disabilities. So as you can see, this process is not linear, and that is because we know that this work takes time. We know that it requires a significant amount of effort and leadership, and we begin and that is often why we support grantees anywhere from 5 years to 8 years. And so we know that people experience change in leadership and changes within the system. And our goal as a SIP team is to meet folks where they are. And so we start with envisioning, where we bring leadership teams together to look at the current system, look at your current reality, and ask, what is it that we're aiming to achieve in our efforts at this time? Then we work on building that system and creating a foundation that can be sustainable and supported, moving into implementation, scaling, and sustaining our efforts. So we are here to go alongside of you within that journey. And if you call us and ask for support, you'll notice that we start asking questions because we're not here to tell you how to do the work. We're here to support you in doing the work. So next slide. Our supports are developed across a 3-tiered model, and tier 1 is our statewide support. So this is everything we do across the state of California, our professional learning, our SIP inclusion conference, our website and resources that we offer on our website, our podcast. Social media is where you'll often get the latest and greatest and in action, the work we're doing in action out with our grantees. That is our tier 1 supports. You'll also see on our website the Special Edge newsletter, which I'm going to show you in just a moment, and our podcast. Our tier 2 level of support is the technical assistance provided by our program specialist directors and coordinators for all of you. So our goal is to assist you throughout this journey and provide a personalized professional development or strategic planning and support around your needs. Within tier 2, there's also grant funding, which we know that you are eager to hear more about today. And Danny is going to talk to you about the process to receive your funds and make sure that you have everything you need to do this deep level work. Tier 3 supports are the partnerships that we have across the statewide system of support, the Department of Education, along with the number of committees that our leadership team sits on to make sure that inclusion continues to be at the forefront of conversations. And we also assist those districts who are identified through the compliance improvement monitoring process. so that they can get that really high level of assistance in creating and implementing their action plan. Our SIP website is where you can find any changes in our team. You can also find a list of the grantees that we support. We are currently supporting, as of today, 96 grantees, I believe. Danny's shaking his head to confirmation. Thank you. We are also, as of today, working on getting all of our newest grantees up on the website. So if you don't see your grantee there, you will be there soon. It's a great place to find out who is within our network, and if there are folks around you regionally that you would like to tap or connect with, please use us as that resource. Our SIP website is also where you will find all of our events that are at no cost and offered to anyone across the state of California, including families, educators, community members. And then every time we host a SIP event, we record it and we house it on our archived virtual events and webinars page, along with our SIP podcast. So if there are professional learning opportunities that you want to get out to the folks within your system, and please check out this webpage, because everything is recorded, housed here. We have resources that go along with it, and you are welcome to take this, distribute, and use in any way that works for you. So our Special Edge newsletter is also one of our foundational supports that we offer. If any of you are familiar with the Special Edge, it has been a really widely used and has been around for quite some time. But what we do is we partner with the folks who are developing the Special Edge, and we brainstorm what is happening in the field across California and help them get access to some of those districts that are doing some exceptional work, and highlight so that you all can see what is the latest and greatest research and practices that are happening across the field. It is a resource that is incredibly accessible for families, educators, and district or county office personnel. So please distribute this widely. It's always going to be housed on our website, and you can also receive a print copy. And we are excited to share that we have our date set for our first webinar series of this year. We are going to be partnering with Nicole Tucker-Smith to bring to you a UDL 3.0 webinar series that begins on October 15th. So that's right around the corner. We want to make sure that you can get registered. Please share this widely across your system. So it's a 4-part series. And what we're most excited about to partner with Nicole Tucker-Smith is that she was at the forefront of developing the network and the research that has been in the last, 3 to 4 years. Folks have been working on updating the new UDL guidelines, and so she's going to bring us that latest and greatest research and application to how to implement the new UDL guidelines. So session 1 is going to focus on learner agency. Then we are going to look at the new guidelines through the lens of engagement and cultivating belonging. And then we will look at, in session 3, at representation and how to bring authentic options for students, in particular students with disabilities, so that they are always seen in all of the work that's happening in their classrooms. And then lastly, session 4 is going to be focused on action and expression and honoring learner variability. So we're really excited to bring this to you. And again, this will be recorded. So if there's any sessions that you cannot attend, please still register and we'll make sure to get the recording to you. And we have dates set for our annual inclusion conference. So May 8th and 9th, save the date. We are currently working on registration, so that's going to go live very soon, but make sure we get this on your calendar. This is our 4th, I can't even believe it. It's our 4th annual inclusion conference. And so at the moment, we're working on bringing those dynamic keynotes to you. If you have any recommendations, and if any of you have exemplary practices that you would like to share at our inclusion conference, please keep your eyes peeled for our email communications. We're going to be sending out the breakout sessions and conference proposals. So let us know if you would like to submit a proposal to present at our conference.
Thanks,
Danny,
Janelle.
I'll
Appreciate
kick it
that.
over to you.
Yeah, let's go. So really our and I think Janelle touched on this earlier, we are really excited to partner with everybody and come alongside everyone and support you, meet you where you're at on your journey, and then continue down that path towards equity and inclusion for all of our students. And we do that in a couple of ways. The grant is one of them, but one of our approaches is that we are assisting in your work, and in return, we ask that you engage with us. The more we engage, Kevin will cover this in a second, the more we engage, the more you will hopefully be able to move that needle and really support our teachers and our learners in classrooms and in our schools. So one of the first deliverables of the grant is the welcome webinar. And so welcome, check, already done, out of the way, ready to go. The second one is attendance at our Spring Institute. That is coming up on April 8th next year. We will have plenty of information being sent out to you. We have to save the date here in a little bit, but it's coming up, and it will be held at Riverside County Office of Ed Conference Center this year. But again, more details to come. The work part of things, not attending the events, the work part of things are quarterly meetings with SIP. We recommend monthly, but you're only required to do quarterly. Again, Kevin will show some data in a little bit. The amount, the frequency of your engagement with SIP matters, and the depth at which you meet with and work with SIP also matters. And so we ask that you host at least one on-site visit with your SIP rep at a minimum. We recommend at least two, but one is what the grant asks of you. We do ask that you either create, update, or connect our work to a pre-existing action plan. It could be an inclusion plan that is tied to your LCAP. If you have gone through the SIM process, it could be your action plan. If not, connect with your SIP person. We can help you put together a plan and thought partner with you, tie it back to your data, and really put together something that is going to support your teams and your students. And lastly, speaking of your teams, we ask that you assemble a team that is representative of different partners within your organization. Ideally, we would have influential decision makers, maybe somebody from your executive cabinet, educational leaders from the special education side of the world, from the general education side of the world, site leadership, teacher leadership, but just a team that is representative of a variety of stakeholders and partners. And that's it in a nutshell. So if you've got a team and a plan and you're willing to engage with SIP, this could be a very this promises to be a very exciting journey for everybody. And when you do, please be sure to take advantage of our expertise and what we are striving to bring to our grantees. And that is comfort and expertise in data dives and analysis. We can strategic planning, action planning, thought partnering, setting some goals, backwards mapping, planning professional learning, delivering professional learning. And we're really, really excited that at our at our Spring Institute specifically, we really focus on networking and connecting. So you will have the opportunity to engage with other grantees who are working on similar in similar areas, in various parts of our blueprint, and so you really get a chance to connect and collaborate and network and learn alongside some amazing partners throughout the state. Two of the ways that we are doing that are inclusion academies and demonstration sites. And so I want to invite Janelle back just for a moment to tell us a little more about the inclusion academies. And I'm going to come back and introduce our demonstration site visits here in just a second. Janelle?
Thank you, Danny. Yes, we are really excited to launch this new tier. We're considering it a tier 1 event. And what it is this year is the Inclusion Academies. Kevin and I have worked with a handful of county offices and SELPAs. So this year we're going to start with just 5 county offices and SELPAs that are coming together to drive this work. And so what it is the 5 that we've selected will be supporting the districts within their region to host an Inclusion Academy, which is a 3-part series that's going to focus specifically on, one more slide back, specifically on what SIP has identified as the foundation for inclusion. And it's adapted from Booth and Ainscow. It's the essential elements of inclusion, the index for inclusion. And so what we know from the research is that when we look at the combination of culture, climate, policies, and practice with shared leadership at the center, that is when we can create a system that truly supports inclusion. And so the way that we've created this 3-part series is, first and foremost, we're working with the county offices, SELPAs, and teams that will be attending this Inclusion Academy to start with who are the drivers and who are those who, what makes up this inclusion improvement team, starting with shared leadership. And so we know that it's the leadership that establishes the direction, creates the vision, aligns the folks within the system. And in particular, we're helping folks create teams that make up both leaders from special education and general education curriculum and instruction. We want this to be an aligned effort because we know that if this work is only coming out of the special education department, it is going to be really hard to move the system. And so we want the teams who are in that position to create that purpose, to really touch all the different points across the system, across the district, who will motivate and inspire others to do the work and create that lasting change. So session 1 is focused specifically on culture and climate. We know that it is often, when we ask people, what is the #1 barrier to inclusion? We hear folks say mindsets, culture, climate. That's the foundation. It's very often that we jump into policies and we jump into creating new practices because we're eager and we want to create change quickly. But often what happens is we put new policies or new practices on old culture, and then we're spinning our wheels. So we start in session 1 with building that foundation around what does it mean to create a culture of climate centered around belonging, rightful presence, a mindset where all of the adults within the system are here to support students and center students with disabilities. Then session 2 is when we are going to be bringing in guest speakers from the System Improvement Lead Project to help us look at different policy frameworks, data collection that will help us identify, are there any policies or within our system that we need to address because they are a current barrier to inclusion. So that will be the focus for session 2. And session 3, we will be partnering with other projects across the statewide system of support to make sure that the attendees are clear on the various resources across Universal Design for Learning, high quality IEPs, let's see, assistive technology. So we're going to be partnering with a number of the projects across the statewide system of support to make sure everyone knows what are the various resources that they can access for free and address those new practices or redesign pre-existing practices that are in place to support inclusion. So any questions about our oh, well, what I also want you all to know is while Kevin and I have identified these 5 different county offices and SELPAs, you all being our grantees, this is work that we are happy to bring to you. So we already have a few grantees who've come to us and said, we want to be a part of this. We want to host something like an Inclusion Academy within our district. So we are doing little mini inclusion academies within our grantees. So if this is something of interest to you and you know that you can get your highest level leaders and drivers to the table, please let your program specialists know because we can support you in bringing this to you. Kevin, anything to add?
No, I think you covered it. Remember, this is a tier 1 level of support as it stands as official inclusion academies. But as Janelle said, we're happy to bring it into tier 2 and work specifically with our grantees to make sure that it's relevant and aligned with the work that you're currently doing.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Janelle. One of the tier 2 options that we are providing for grantees exclusively for this year are our demonstration sites. On the right-hand side of your screen there, you will see the 7 organizations and 7 districts who will be hosting, who are hosting demonstration sites. Our first one is coming up in less than a week. And Jolie, I believe you're on the phone, so we're really excited to host up in Marysville. But we want to provide the opportunity. One of the biggest asks that we get is where can we see this in action? Where can we see who's doing it well, and where can we get a glimpse of what this looks like? Can we connect with them? I just want to pick their brains. And so we've put together demonstration site visits where you will get an opportunity to do all of those things. If you were to scan that QR code, that'll take you to a document that's got ample information. One of the things it's going to cover is what do I get when I go to these demonstration site visits. And so we're really proud to be able to offer access to promising practices and best practices around inclusive instruction. And you will get an opportunity to observe those in classroom walkthroughs. You'll get access to district and site level leadership, including teacher leaders, and to debrief, discuss, build your own capacity, and really get a chance to pick people's brains, as it were, right? And then a lot of times what really gets us moving forward are access to the resources and the artifacts that that particular demonstration site has used to accelerate their work. And this could be tools to organize your data, tools to help you with your master schedule, PD plans. It is a long, long list. And so our demonstration sites have graciously offered to share that and support our visiting teams with implementing inclusive practices at their own site. So when you go there and you get a chance to observe the classrooms, access resources and artifacts, and talk to leadership, the hope is that you will be able to bring some of that back and that visit creates some impact in the work that you are doing in your local context. If this sounds like something you would like to do, we welcome you all. The link is in the chat. If you scan this QR code, you will be able to sign up for a demonstration site visit. And once we get your interest form submitted, we will reach out to you and start the planning process with you. But we look forward to welcoming you all to our sites. Our demonstration sites are fantastic, and you are promised a valuable experience and a valuable learning experience. But we do, oh, before we get to the money, because that is also important, our next deliverable is an in-person Spring Institute. It is always high energy. It is always an opportunity to connect, always an opportunity to network, and always an opportunity to learn from our colleagues and learn alongside one another in terms of who's doing what, where, and what can we learn from those folks. And so this upcoming Spring Institute will be the same. And so we look forward to having you all attend us and attend the event and join us in April. There'll be a lot of information and registration is starting up shortly. So be on the lookout for that information. Before we get to the money, I do want to share, we promised some data around the impact that our grantees had last year, some of the feedback we got from our grantees. And so I do want to welcome Kevin to go over just a couple of data points from our final report that we submitted to the CDE a few months ago. Kevin, can you walk us through a few of these?
Sure. It's interesting. The second question we get right after show me the money is show me the data. So as Danny said, we are required by CDE to submit a final report every year. That's available publicly if you'd like to have a copy to page through the work that we've done, how we collect the data, and what the data shows. Your program specialist, coordinator, or director can send that information to you for review, or if you'd like to use it to have conversations, facilitate conversations with your leadership teams, your board, your superintendent, happy to do that. So we found really interesting data over the past 9 years that the SIP grant project has been in existence. So based on grantee feedback, as Janelle and Danny mentioned earlier, we provide professional development, and the professional development is at tier 1 for anyone to access across the state at no cost, as well as very specific professional development to our grantees. So as you can see, we ask 5 questions. The first being, I have gained valuable insight into the following inclusion related topics: culture, policy, practice, and/or shared leadership. That takes us back to the foundation of our grant from Booth and Ainscow: culture, policy, and practice. And you can see within all 5 of the questions that we've asked grantees and participants to respond to, we're up between 96 to 98% strongly agree and agree with the support that we provided through professional development and technical assistance. So that's part of our final report, one of the areas that we wanted to highlight. Another area that we wanted to highlight that we thought you might find interesting is that one of the requirements of our project is to focus on special education annual performance indicators 3, 5, 6, and 7. So those are LRE, preschool outcomes, and statewide assessment achievement. So focusing on indicator 5A, which is least restrictive environment for students that are in general education, 80% or more. You can see across time that there is improvement, but what we have found as we looked deeper is that improvement is based on the length of time a grantee is in the project. 3 to 5, 6, 7 years is where we see the most gains in least restrictive environment, which also indicates year 1, year 2, year 3. That's in that envisioning and the building and the implementing process that does take time, that may not show the improvement that we see across years 4, 5, 6, and 7. You'll also notice that this data is disaggregated to those grantees that enter into the project through the compliance and improvement monitoring. They're at the intensive level 3, as well as a comparison to the non-SIM grantees that come into the project based on request or based on CDE's request that they come in, or the district can request that they come in. But the important piece here is the length of time and the amount of engagement that the districts, the grantees, have with our incredible SIP team. Okay. The other area that we'd like to show is the progress that's made based on the components of the blueprint for inclusion. So Janelle showed the blueprint for inclusion, and what we've tracked over time based on the input from our team is that from Q1 to Q4, you will see that improvement over time as the grantees are focusing on those areas of envisioning, building, implementing, scaling, and sustaining. So once again, I think for the third time, it's the engagement and it's the time that we found is where the improvement happens. Okay. Next slide. And please, any questions in the chat, I'm happy to answer. I see Jennifer would like to see how the changes to TK enrollment is impacting the data. We also work with Dr. Andrew Wall out of Phoenix Consulting. He meets with our team regularly, and he's responsible for collecting the data, analyzing the data, and then making the data visual, as well as understandable for our final report submission every year. All right, Danny, I think you are grant funding.
It sounds like this might be the moment we've all been waiting for. Where is the money and what can I do with it? Where can I, what are all the things around funding? We can definitely support your work. We know that this work is takes time. We know it takes people. We know it takes things, stuff, resources, and so we want to be able to. We're happy to be able to provide some funding to be able to offset that cost and support the work that you are all engaging in. We invited CDE, somebody from the grant funding unit there at CDE, and she graciously created a brief video for us. And so we want to play that for you just to give us a brief overview, and then we'll go over some of that stuff that she's mentioning so you can kind of get a visual of what she's talking about.
Hello, my name is Erin Rodriguez, and I'm an education programs consultant for the California Department of Education. Today, I will be explaining the process of submitting the grant award notifications and expenditure reports for the SIP grant. Upon receipt of the grant award notification, or GAN, it is expected that each grantee will mail the original signed document to the address provided on the GAN. You may also email a copy in addition to the original being mailed to the email address sedcontractsgrants@cde.ca.gov. If at any time you would like an additional copy of your GAN, you are more than welcome to reach out to the same email address and request one. For the SIP grant, it is expected that each grantee will also submit a final expenditure report at the end of the grant cycle. The end of the grant cycle is typically 27 months after the start of the grant. So for the grant year of 22-23, the final report would be due in October of 2024. For the grant year of 23-24, it would be due in 2025. And for 24-25, it would be due in 2026. The expenditure report can be found online at the CDE website. It is also linked in this presentation. You will also need to note the CDE approved indirect cost rates and make sure that it applies correctly to your expenditure report. You may scan and submit all expenditure reports to our Fiscal Payments 1 unit, or FP1, at scdgrants@cde.ca.gov. If at any time you have any questions about payments, inquiries regarding the fiscal years, you may reach out to our fiscal payments unit at that scdgrants@cde.ca.gov. And then they can assist you if you have payment questions. If you have any program questions regarding the SIP grant and the grant award notification, please make sure to reach out to my unit, which is the email address of scdcontractsgrants@cde.ca.gov. All contact information is provided on the grant award notification, and we welcome any communication if you have questions. Thank you so much.
So that was everything in a nutshell. Here's everything that that Erin helped cover for us. Again, when you receive your GAN, make a copy, sign the original, send the original back up to CDE. The address is here for you if you need that. And again, everybody will be receiving a copy of this presentation at the conclusion of our time together. You can also, and we do recommend that you scan and email a signed copy to the email address that you see there. And a quick reminder or something of note that Erin did not cover, but your GANs, your signed GANs are due within 15 days of receipt. So once you get them, make it a priority to sign them, mail them, scan them, send them, do all the things that you need to do when you get your GANs. If you are a returning grantee and have been with us, and this is your third year or longer, but for the sake of final expenditure reports, if you were a grantee and received a GAN in the 22-23 fiscal year, your final expenditure report for that grant cycle is due next month. If this is your second year with SIP and you received a GAN for the 23-24 school year and have not yet used your funding or all of your funding, your final expenditure report will be due October of 2025, a year from now. For those of you brand new to the SIP family, welcome. Your GAN should be received in the coming days, and your 24-25 GAN that you're receiving this year, the final expenditure report will be due in October 2026. So you will have just about 2 years to use up that fund, that pot of funds. The reports that Erin was mentioning, your expenditure reports, your list of approved indirect costs, all of those are linked here for you. That's just a little snapshot of what it looks like. That is the June 2021 version. We've linked the most recently updated version for you, and the links are being shared in the chat as well as linked to this presentation that you will receive. And with that, one last thing before I invite Carmen back. Any information you need, any help you need, any guidance you may need, or that your business office may need, please encourage them to reach out to SED Grants. They are surprisingly very quick to respond and a wealth of knowledge. They are wonderful folks and eager to help if you have any questions with grant expenditures or any reports for the SIP grant. With that, I do want to welcome back our director from Riverside, Carmen Hopkins, with one final task for us to complete together.
Thank you, Danny. I appreciate all of that information. It's very valuable to all of us out there to know not only just when the money's coming, right, and how we can spend it, but all the other supports that SIP offers to each of our grantees. We know that this work only gets better with your feedback. We welcome it. We want to invite you to complete this survey today and share with us some feedback. based on your experience today. It'll also be covering set beliefs, experiences, and practices for you to share feedback upon with regards to everything that you've learned and heard today. We are excited to welcome that feedback to continue to improve our practice as we work together in supporting all students. You can scan the QR code and the bit.ly link is there as well. And you can also check the chat. All the links are in the chat. And as a reminder, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all the links in the chat, they are going to be shared with you after today's webinar. So you'll have access to those. Okay, we'll give everyone a moment to fill out the survey.
All right, we'll just give it another minute, 30 seconds to finish up the survey. We appreciate all of your responses. And as Carmen and Janelle says, we do use that information for planning purpose upcoming. All right, Danny, are we ready to close it out?
We are. Here we go.
All right, as we mentioned earlier, please join us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at SIP Inclusion. We also have a YouTube channel. You can download videos. At the bottom of the list is our website link, and then you can scan the QR code, and that will take you to our events page. We're currently updating the page, but you will also have access to Katie Novak's UDL courses at no cost. That we had worked with her in years past, and she's allowed us to keep those courses open. So in closing, thank you again for being here and joining us in this journey toward the creation of meaningful and authentic inclusive educational environments that honor the rightful presence of students with disabilities to be known, valued, honored, and needed in safe spaces across our entire organization. It's not only our responsibility, but our moral purpose to disrupt the current system in favor of equity, access, and the assurance that all students are provided the opportunity to reach their full potential in life. So again, thank you all for allowing us to partner with you on in your work around the creation of inclusive environments for students with disabilities. We are grateful and we thank you.
If you have any remaining questions and would like to stay on the line, you can unmute and ask away. We're happy to support you. If you prefer the chat box, you're welcome to put any remaining questions you have there. If you don't have any questions, please enjoy the rest of your day. Have a wonderful week, and we look forward to connecting with you and joining you in your journeys.